My pregnant wife doesn't know I had a secret vasectomy 3 years ago. I am sitting in my car in a Walmart parking lot because I can't bear to go home and face the woman I've been married to for 7 years. I feel like my entire reality has snapped in half. I am shaking, I am furious, and mostly, I am completely terrified of what is about to happen. Let me give you the background so you don't judge me too harshly, though I know I'm not innocent here. My wife, let's call her Sarah, and I have a 5-year-old son. He is the light of my world. After he was born, Sarah had a really rough time. Postpartum depression, physical complications, the works. It almost broke us. We survived, but I made a promise to myself that I couldn't go through that again. We were financially stretched, and honestly, I felt our family was complete. Sarah, however, started talking about a second baby about 3 years ago. She was obsessed with the idea of a sibling for our son. Every time I tried to have a rational conversation about our finances or her health, she would shut down or cry, telling me I was being selfish. So, I did something desperate and stupid. I went behind her back. I booked a vasectomy 3 years ago. I told her I was going on a weekend fishing trip with my brother, but instead, I spent the weekend icing my crotch in a motel room. I healed up, told her we'd leave it to fate, and figured eventually she'd just accept that it wasn't meant to be. I know, I lied. I betrayed her trust first. I've lived with that guilt every day. But I thought I was protecting our stability. Fast forward to yesterday. I came home from work, and the house smelled like pot roast, my favorite. Sarah was wearing a dress she usually saves for date nights. She looked radiant, glowing actually. My stomach dropped because I thought she was going to ask for something expensive, but it was so much worse. We sat down, and she handed me a small, wrapped gift box. My hands were trembling when I opened it. Inside was a positive pregnancy test and a tiny pair of booties. She started crying heavy tears and told me that it finally happened, that it was a miracle. She said she knew we stopped trying aggressively, but that fate had found a way. She reached across the table to hold my hand, beaming at me, waiting for me to celebrate. I felt like I had been punched in the throat. I couldn't breathe. I knew, with absolute certainty, that there was no miracle. I get my sperm count checked annually just to be paranoid safe, and my last check was 4 months ago. The count was 0. I am shooting blanks. I am sterile. I pulled my hand away. I couldn't help it. She asked me what was wrong, why I looked like a ghost. I told her I was just in shock, that I was feeling dizzy. I excused myself and locked myself in the bathroom. I sat on the floor for an hour, staring at the tile, realizing that my wife, the woman I built a life with, has been sleeping with someone else. There is no other explanation. I eventually came out and told her I had a migraine and needed to lay down. She's currently downstairs, probably looking up nursery colors, thinking I'm just overwhelmed by the good news. Meanwhile, I'm planning how to blow up my entire life. I feel humiliated. I feel like a fool. But I also feel trapped because if I confront her, I have to admit I've been lying to her for 3 years about my fertility. I need to know how to handle this. Do I confess to the vasectomy immediately and catch her off guard? Or do I play along for a few days to gather evidence? I'm scared if I tell her now, she'll turn it around on me for lying about the surgery and try to make me the villain to distract from her cheating. How do I play this? Commenter 1. Dude, you are in a mess of your own making, but she is the one who nuked the marriage. Do not confess yet. If you tell her you had a vasectomy, she will gaslight you. She'll claim the vasectomy failed. Vasectomies can fail, recanalization, even years later. Before you accuse her of cheating, you need to go to a urologist immediately, like, tomorrow morning, and get a confirmed sperm count. If you are still sterile, then you drop the hammer. If you accuse her without proof, she will destroy you. Commenter 2. I can't believe you lied for 3 years, that's toxic as hell, but infidelity is a whole other level. She is looking you in the eye and lying about a miracle baby. That is sociopathic behavior. Don't say a word. Act shocked, act anxious about money, whatever you have to do. Get your medical proof first. Also, check her phone records. If she's pregnant, the affair is either recent or ongoing. Find out who it is before you confront her. Commenter 3. This is horrifying. You lied to avoid a fight, she cheated and is trying to pass off another man's child as yours. Those aren't even in the same league. Get the medical confirmation, then talk to a lawyer before you talk to her. You need to know your rights regarding the house and your son. If she's pregnant by someone else, this marriage is over. Protect yourself and your son. Do not leave the house. Update 1, 3 days later. Reading those comments gave me the wake-up call I needed. I realized that reacting purely on emotion was going to get me killed in a divorce court. I needed to be cold. I needed to be certain. The morning after the announcement, I told Sarah I had a frantic early morning meeting and left the house at 6 a.m. I didn't go to work. I went to an urgent care clinic that offers fertility testing and then to my urologist's office as soon as they opened, begging for an emergency appointment. The urologist, Dr. Evans, has known me for a while. I told him everything. I told him my wife is pregnant and I needed to know, right then and there, if there was any chance, any 1 in a million chance, that my tubes had reconnected. He saw the panic in my eyes. He rushed the analysis. The 3 hours I spent waiting for those results were the longest of my life. I sat in the waiting room watching the clock tick, feeling like I was going to vomit. I kept checking my phone. Sarah had sent me a text saying she made an appointment with her OBGYN for next week and asked if I wanted to come. She included a heart emoji. That emoji made me want to throw my phone through the drywall. She was playing the part of the happy expectant mother so perfectly. It made me wonder what else she had faked over the last 7 years. Finally, Dr. Evans called me back. He looked grim. He sat me down and showed me the slide results. 0, he told me. Azoospermia. There are no sperm present. The vasectomy is fully intact. It's physically impossible for you to be the father. Hearing it out loud broke something inside me. Up until that second, there was a tiny, stupid part of my brain hoping that maybe I was the 1 in a million. Maybe I hadn't been betrayed. But the science was cold and hard. I wasn't the father. I thanked the doctor, took a copy of the official results, and walked out to my car. I sat there and cried. Not the gentle tearing up, but ugly, heaving sobs. I felt ruined. I felt replaced. Who was he? Was it someone I knew? Was it a random guy at a bar? I went home that night and it took every ounce of strength I had not to scream at her the moment I walked through the door. Sarah was in the kitchen again. She was looking at Pinterest on her iPad. She looked up and told me she was thinking about a celestial theme for the nursery, maybe moons and stars. I looked at her, really looked at her. She didn't look guilty. She didn't look anxious. She looked happy. That's what scared me the most. She was so comfortable lying to my face that she was planning a nursery for the evidence of her infidelity. I told her the theme sounded nice. My voice sounded hollow, robotic. She asked if I was okay, mentioning that I had been distant since the news. I told her I was just worried about the finances. I used that as my cover. She bought it. She hugged me and told me that we would figure it out, that this baby was a blessing and we shouldn't worry about money. She said love was enough. That night, while she was in the shower, I did what the second commenter suggested. I grabbed her phone. We've always had an open phone policy, but I rarely checked hers because I trusted her. My hands were sweating so much I could barely type in her passcode. I went to her texts. Nothing obvious. Just chats with her mom, her sister, a group chat with the other soccer moms. I checked her call log. Nothing weird. I felt a momentary wave of confusion. Was she a spy? How was she hiding this? Then I checked Instagram DMs. There it was. A conversation with a user named fitlife_Mark. I recognized the name immediately. Mark is her personal trainer. I pay $200 a month for her to train with this guy twice a week at the local gym. I've met him. He's young, fit, and always seemed overly friendly, but I never thought anything of it. The messages weren't explicit, but they were intimate. Him, how are you feeling today? Her, nauseous. But happy. I haven't told him yet. I'm going to do it tonight. This was dated the day she told me. Him, you know I'm here for you, whatever happens. I just want you to be happy. Her, I know. It's going to be complicated. But I can't imagine not keeping it. There was no I love you, no sexting, but the emotional intimacy was undeniable. And the fact that she discussed the pregnancy with him before me? That she told him it would be complicated? I put the phone back exactly where it was. My heart was hammering against my ribs like a trapped bird. I have the medical proof. I have the suspect. Now I'm living in a house with a woman who is carrying another man's child, and she thinks I'm just a stressed-out husband. I'm spiraling. I know who it is. It's your trainer. I have the medical paperwork proving I'm sterile. Do I confront her now with everything? Or do I need to talk to a lawyer first? I'm worried if I confront her tonight, she'll call the cops or try to take my son away claiming I'm unstable. I feel like I'm about to explode. How do I keep my cool long enough to protect myself legally? Commenter 1. Lawyer. Now. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. If you confront her tonight without a legal strategy, you lose. In many places, you are the presumed father because you're married. You need to file for divorce and contest paternity formally before that kid is born, or you could be on the hook for child support for another man's child for the next 18 years. Also, save those screenshots. Send them to a secure email she can't access. Do not let her know you know until you have papers in hand. Commenter 2. I'm physically sick reading this. You're paying for her to get trained by the guy she's sleeping with? That is a level of disrespect that is hard to comprehend. Do not confront her yet. If she senses you know, she might delete the messages or spin a story to family and friends that you're abusive to turn them against you before the truth comes out. Gray rock her. Be boring, be non-reactive, and protect your assets. Commenter 3. The "it's going to be complicated" text is the smoking gun. She knows it's not yours. She knows she's trapping you. This isn't an accident, it's a strategy. You need to record everything, if your state allows one-party consent. Do not leave the house, or she can claim abandonment. Stay strong, OP. You're playing the long game now. Update 2, 1 week later. I didn't blow up. I wanted to. God, I wanted to scream until my throat bled, but I read your comments sitting in the dark of my driveway that night, and I realized you were right. If I exploded, I'd just be the angry, unstable husband. She would play the victim. She's good at that. So, I walked inside, told her I took some Excedrin for my migraine, and went straight to bed. I laid there with my back to her, listening to her breathe, thinking about how that same breath had been on another man's neck. I didn't sleep a wink. The next morning, I called out of work again. I told Sarah I had a stomach bug so I could avoid kissing her goodbye. Once she left to drop our son off at kindergarten and head to her part-time job, I got to work. First, I secured the evidence. I logged into her iPad, which she foolishly leaves at home, and took photos of every single DM with fitlife_mark. I scrolled back months. I found the shift. About 4 months ago, the messages went from "what time is our session" to "I love the energy today" to "I can't stop thinking about you." There was no smoking gun admission of sex, but there was plenty of guilt. One message from her read, "He's a good man, Mark. I feel terrible, but I can't help how I feel when I'm with you." I forwarded everything to a new, secret Gmail account I created. Then I called a divorce attorney. I got an appointment 2 days later with a guy named Mr. Henderson. He's a shark. I told him everything, the secret vasectomy, the miracle pregnancy, the messages with the trainer. I showed him the urologist's report confirming I have 0 sperm count. He looked at the papers, took off his glasses, and rubbed the bridge of his nose. "You have a mess on your hands," he said. "But you have leverage." He explained the presumption of paternity. Since we are married, the law automatically assumes I am the father. If I don't contest this legally and aggressively, I could end up paying child support for Mark's kid until it's 21. He told me I need to file for divorce on the grounds of adultery and fraud, and I need to file a motion to compel a DNA test the moment that baby is born, or sooner, if a prenatal non-invasive test is possible. But then he gave me the hardest advice: do not leave the marital home. Do not cut off her access to funds yet. Maintain the status quo until we file. If you leave, you abandon the property and your son. You have to live with her, pretending everything is normal, until we serve her. Living a lie is exhausting. It's been a week of hell. I come home, and I have to act like a tired but supportive husband. She's in full nesting mode. She bought a pregnancy pillow. She's talking about names. The worst part happened yesterday. The OBGYN appointment. I tried to get out of it. I said I had a crucial conference call. She started crying, saying, "You missed so much with our son because of work. Please don't be like that this time. This is our miracle." The word miracle makes my skin crawl now. I had to go. I couldn't raise suspicion yet. Sitting in that waiting room was torture. I looked around at the other couples. Husbands holding their wives' hands, looking nervous and excited. I sat there with my hands in my pockets, clenching my fists so hard my fingernails dug into my palms. When they called us back, the nurse was bubbly. "Dad, take a seat right there by Mom." I sat. Sarah pulled up her shirt. The gel went on. And there, on the monitor, was the grainy black and white image of the betrayal. The technician pointed things out. "There's the head, there's the heartbeat." Thump thumped. Thump thumped. Sarah squeezed my hand. "Look, honey. It's strong." I stared at the screen. I felt a weird mix of detachment and rage. That heartbeat wasn't mine. It was a parasite on my life. It was Mark's heartbeat. The doctor came in a few minutes later. She started asking family history questions. Any history of genetic disorders on the father's side? I froze. I wanted to say, I don't know, why don't you call Mark and ask him? Instead, I cleared my throat. No. Nothing. Then the doctor asked, and are we planning on any permanent birth control after this one? Or are you two looking for a big family? Sarah laughed. Oh, we'll see. I've always wanted 3. I almost snapped. I physically recoiled in the chair. The doctor noticed. She gave me a weird look. Dad okay? You look a little pale. I'm fine, I gritted out. Just overwhelmed. We left the office, and Sarah was on cloud 9. She wanted to go for lunch to celebrate. We went to a Panera. I picked at a sandwich while she rambled on about how fate works in mysterious ways. Then she dropped the bomb that brings me to today's crisis. I was thinking, she said, dipping her bread in soup. Since this is such a special surprise, we should do a big gender reveal party next month. A barbecue in the backyard. I want to invite everyone. My family, your family, the neighbors, and I was thinking of inviting some of the gym crew, too. They've been so supportive of me getting healthy. My blood ran cold. She wants to invite him. She wants to invite her lover to my house, to eat my food, and celebrate the baby they made together, all while I play the clueless cuckold in the background. Mark has been asking how things are going, she continued, not looking me in the eye. He's such a nice guy. I think it would be rude not to include him. I took a sip of my drink to hide my shaking hands. Sure, I said. Invite him. Invite everyone. I have a plan forming. A dark, terrible plan. Mr. Henderson, my lawyer, is drafting the divorce papers. He says we can serve her whenever I want. Sarah wants a gender reveal party? She wants a big spectacle with all our friends and family? She wants the father there? Maybe I should give her exactly what she wants. Am I crazy for thinking about serving her the divorce papers at the gender reveal party? Or is that too nuclear? Part of me wants to do it quietly to protect my son from the fallout, but another part of me wants to burn her reputation to the ground in front of everyone, especially if Mark is there. Also, how do I handle the gym crew invitation without vomiting? Do I let her invite him? Update 3, the day of the party. I took the advice about my son. That was the most important thing. My mom, who I had partially filled in, I told her we were having issues and I needed her to take him for the afternoon, but didn't drop the full bomb yet, picked him up at 1 p.m. The party started at 2 p.m. I kissed his forehead and told him Daddy loved him. Watching him leave was the only thing that kept me from throwing up. Once he was safe, I turned into a different person. I felt like an actor walking onto a stage. The backyard was decorated in navy blue and gold. Twinkle twinkle little star theme. It made me sick. About 30 people showed up, friends, neighbors, her family. And, of course, the gym crew. Mark walked in around 2:30. He was wearing a tight polo shirt and brought a case of beer. The audacity of this man. He walked right up to me, shook my hand firmly, and said, "Congrats, man. Big changes coming, huh?" I looked him dead in the eye and squeezed his hand just a little too hard. "You have no idea, Mark. Huge changes." He laughed, oblivious, and went to find Sarah. I watched them from across the yard. She was glowing, holding a mocktail, laughing at something he said. He touched her lower back, a gesture that was far too familiar. Her sister noticed it. I saw her sister frown, but she didn't say anything. At 4 p.m., it was time for the big reveal. Sarah had arranged for a large black balloon that we were supposed to pop together to reveal pink or blue confetti. She gathered everyone on the patio. "Okay, everyone. Gather round. We are so excited to share this moment with our favorite people." She handed me a pin. She looked at me, her eyes sparkling. "Ready, Daddy?" I took the pin. The crowd was cheering. "Pop it. Pop it." I stepped forward, but instead of popping the balloon, I lowered my hand. "Actually," I said, my voice loud enough to cut through the chatter. "Before we pop this, I have a different kind of reveal. I think it's important that we are all honest about what we are celebrating today." The crowd went quiet. Sarah looked confused. "Honey? What are you doing?" I reached into the inner pocket of my jacket and pulled out a thick manila envelope. "Sarah thinks this is a miracle baby," I said, looking at the crowd, then locking eyes with her. And in a way, it is. Because it's a miracle she thought I wouldn't find out. What are you talking about? Sarah's smile wavered. She looked terrified. I had a vasectomy 3 years ago, Sarah, I said. The silence was absolute. You could hear a pin dropped. I have 0 sperm count. I have the medical records right here in this envelope. Along with the text messages between you and Mark. I turned to Mark. He had turned a sickly shade of gray. He looked like he wanted to run, but he was blocked in by the patio furniture and 20 shocked guests. Mark, I said, tossing the envelope onto the table in front of Sarah. Since you're the one who's been training my wife so intimately, maybe you should pop the balloon? It's your kid, after all. Sarah screamed. It wasn't a word, just a high-pitched sound of pure panic. No. That's a lie. He's lying. The surgery failed. It didn't fail, I said calmly. Dr. Evans confirmed it last week. Azoospermia. 0. None. Her father stepped forward, looking from me to her. Sarah? Is this true? She burst into tears, hysterical, ugly sobbing. He's lying to hurt me. He's been lying for 3 years. I did lie about the surgery, I admitted to the crowd. And I will have to live with that. But I didn't sleep with another person and try to pass the baby off as yours. I looked at Mark. She's all yours, man. You can handle the nursery costs. I'm out. I didn't wait for the explosion. I turned around and walked through the sliding glass door, grabbed my keys, and walked out the front door. Behind me, I could hear shouting. I heard her dad yelling at Mark. I heard Sarah screaming my name. I got in my car, drove 2 blocks away, and pulled over. I shook for 20 minutes straight. Adrenaline crash is real. But for the first time in weeks, I could breathe. Update 4, 2 months later. It's been a while, and I know a lot of you have been waiting to see if the dust settled. It hasn't settled so much as it has formed a new, muddy landscape. Here is the rundown. The party was, predictably, the end of our social life as a couple. Sarah's parents were horrified. Her dad actually threw Mark out of the backyard physically. Sarah tried to spin the narrative for a few days, posting on Facebook that I was abusive and a liar, but the screenshots I had included in the envelope, yes, I made copies for her parents, made their rounds. When you read texts of your daughter telling her lover, he's so clueless, I feel bad but I need this, it's hard to defend her. The divorce. We are in the thick of it. I stayed in a hotel for 2 days, then returned to the house. My lawyer advised me that since she has family nearby, and I am the primary breadwinner paying the mortgage, I shouldn't be the one displaced. It was awkward as hell. She refused to leave for a week, sleeping in the guest room, crying every time she saw me, switching between begging for forgiveness and screaming at me for embarrassing her. She finally moved in with her parents after her lawyer told her that a judge wouldn't look kindly on the hostility in the home. The baby. She is still pregnant. Mark is nowhere to be found. Apparently, when the reality of child support in a baby hit him, FitLife wasn't so interested in the life part. He ghosted her. She's now facing raising this child as a single mother, living in her childhood bedroom. We did a non-invasive prenatal paternity test, an IPP, just to be legally bulletproof. The results came back 0% probability for me. 99.9% probability for Mark. They got his DNA from a water bottle he left at the gym. My lawyer is a savage. Because of this, I am not the legal father. I am off the hook for support for the new baby. My son. This is the hardest part. He's 5. He doesn't understand why mommy isn't home. We told him mommy is staying with grandma for a while to help with the new baby. He misses her, and that breaks my heart. I hate that my actions, and hers, hurt him. I have 50-50 custody right now, but I'm fighting for primary. Her mental state is unstable. She is depressed, anxious, and manic. She blames me for ruining her life. She says if I hadn't gotten the vasectomy, this never would have happened. She actually believes that. She thinks my lie about the surgery forced her to cheat. It's twisted logic, but it helps her sleep at night, I guess. Me. I'm in therapy. Turns out, lying to your wife for 3 years about your fertility is something you need to unpack, even if she did something worse. I own my part in the breakdown of the trust, but I don't regret the vasectomy. It saved me from raising another man's child. I'm living in the house. It's quiet. I painted over the nursery room. It's a home office now. The other day, I ran into Mark at the grocery store. He saw me, dropped his basket, and literally walked out of the store. I bought a steak and a nice bottle of whiskey. I'm not happy yet. My family is broken. My son is confused. But I have my dignity, I have my truth, and I'm not living a lie anymore. To the Redditors who told me to get a lawyer and get a DNA test, you saved my life. Thank you. Wife got pregnant 3 years after my secret vasectomy. I revealed her affair with her personal trainer at her gender reveal party. The baby is his. He ran away. We are divorcing. I am free.